Hi students, in this video we'll see one more sum, right, in designing a DFA. In the last video we have seen how to design an FSM, and in this video we'll be seeing few more sums, right. So here I have written the question: draw a DFA to accept strings of A's and B's with at least one A, right. Draw a DFA to accept strings of A's and B's with at least one A, right. And in the previous video I have told, when you get a question to construct a DFA, right, by reading the question I have to identify this belongs to which type. I have to identify the type, whether it is pattern recognition method or divisible by K problem or mod K problem. I have to identify the method, right. So how to identify the method? Read the question. In the question, if you have a pattern, this belongs to pattern recognition problems, right. So we'll check whether I have a pattern in this question. The question is: draw a DFA to accept strings of A's and B's with at least one A. There is a pattern, so it belongs to pattern recognition method. So what should I do? I have to write the pattern as my minimum string. So minimum string is my pattern. And what is my alphabet? Right, I can write as alphabet, or I can write my notation sigma. What is my sigma? Right, you read the question: draw a DFA to accept strings of A's and B's. A's and B's. So my alphabet is A, B. Now what should I do? I have to start my transition diagram. So how to start your transition diagram? This is my start state. Right, I'll tell start state is, I'll have a circle with an arrow is your start state. Then you write the pattern. So I have only one character in my pattern. I'll write the character, right. I'll write one more state. Since I have only one character, I have written the character. So I can make this state as my final state. So the final state notation is double circle. Now I have to name it. So how will I name? Starting from Q0, I'll give names to my state. So it can be Q0, Q1. If you have one more state, it will be Q0. So here I have only two states, right. Now I have to find the transition, right. So what are the transitions I have to find? So you can list all the transitions, right, that I should find. So what are the transitions I should find? First transition is Q0, A. This transition I have to find. Why I have written A? Right, my first alphabet. Then for the same state Q0, I have to find the transition with respect to the second alphabet, right. So my state and the second alphabet is B. Next I have to find transition of my second state, right. My both the alphabets is over. Now I am moving to my next state Q1. Q1, my first alphabet, and next is Q0, my first, Q1 only. Q1 and Q1 my second alphabet. So these are the transitions I am supposed to find, right. So now in the question, in this diagram, I have a transition. I have one transition. What is the transition? Right, this edge I have to see, right. So Q0 is taking A input and it is moving to Q1, right. Q0, it is taking A input and it is moving to Q1. Q0 taking A input and it is moving to Q1, right. Am I having any other transitions? No. You can check. Q0, B, is it available? No. Q1, A, is it available? No. Q1, B, is it available? No. So these three transitions I am supposed to find now, right. So let us find this one. Q0 comma B, right? Q0 comma B, right? I'll use a pencil, right? As you know, while finding a new transitions, right, I'll check for self first, then for previous states, right? And if the condition fails, I'll be moving to my dead state. So Q0 comma B, Q0 comma B, I'll mark a self, right? And I have to check whether this marking is correct. How will I check whether this marking is correct? You have to write all the strings starting from start state to final state. Write the strings B, A, B, A. Now check. What is your question? It should have at least one A, right? At least one A. I have at least one A. So this marking is correct. So this marking is correct. So I'll write Q0 comma B is nothing but Q0. Next I have to find out Q1 comma A. Q1 comma A. I'll try with self Q1 comma A, right? I have to check whether this marking is right or not. So I have to write the string starting from start state to final state. So it is B, A, 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 A. Right? So what is your condition? It should have at least one A. I have at least one A. At least one A meaning is one or more A. Right? So again this marking is right. Right? Next I have to find Q1 comma B. Check with self first. Right? I have written A comma B. Write the strings B, B, A. Right? I'll write this B. Even if you write this A, not a problem. Right? B, A, B. Check this string. Right? B. I have written B, A, B. Right? The condition is I should have at least one A. I have a A. Right? So again this marking is right. So it is Q1. Right? Now my transition diagram is over. What is the next step? I have to write my machine. Machine is equal to Q comma sigma. It is a 5 tuple machine, my DFA. Delta and Q0 comma F. Capital Q is set of all non-empty states. So how many states I have? Only 2. Q0 comma Q1. What is my sigma? Sigma is A comma B. And these are my transitions. And Q0 is your start state. And what is my final state? Q1. Q1 is my final state. Now what should I do? I have to write my transition table. So transition symbol I'll mark, and my columns will be all my alphabets and my rows will be the states. How many states I have? I have only 2 states. Right? I have only 2 states. Now see this. Q0, when it takes A, it is moving to Q1. Q0, when it takes A, it should move to Q0 A, Q1. Similarly, Q0 B, Q0. Q0 B, Q0. Next, Q1 A, Q1. Q1 A, Q1. Q1 B, Q1. Now, notation. Start state, final state. Right? This is the end of your answer. Right? We'll discuss one more sum.